If you wake up at almost exactly the same time every single night, somewhere around 3 a.m., you are not imagining it, and you are absolutely not alone in this. This is one of the most common complaints I hear from people over 70, and it is also one of the most misunderstood sleep experiences in the entire senior health space. Most people assume it is insomnia, or anxiety, or simply a sign that their body does not need as much sleep as it used to need when they were younger and healthier. But waking at 3 a.m. consistently is rarely random. It is almost always your body responding to something specific and identifiable happening inside you at that exact hour. And here is what makes this genuinely important. The reason you keep waking up at 3 a.m. tells you something meaningful about what is happening in your body right now. In the next several minutes, I am going to show you the most common reasons this happens, why 3 a.m. specifically is such a vulnerable hour for people over 70. And I will show you the simple adjustments that help most people sleep through that 3 a.m. window without waking starting as soon as tonight if you apply what I share. I am Dr. Edward, and this channel exists to give you honest, practical health information that protects your sleep, your energy, and your independence every day. Now, let me show you exactly why 3 a.m. keeps pulling you out of sleep. Because once you understand the real reason, the solution becomes much clearer and more practical. Let me ask you something. When you wake up at 3 a.m., what is the first thing that actually goes through your mind in those first few confused seconds of waking? For most people, the answer is frustration. Why am I awake again? What time is it? Please let me fall back to sleep. Why does this keep happening every single night? And the second thought for most people is resignation. This is just what happens when you get older. My doctor said sleep changes with age. I just have to accept it. But waking at the same hour, night after night, is a meaningful signal your body is sending one worth understanding rather than ignoring or accepting as inevitable. Here is what actually happens inside your body. Between midnight and 4 a.m., this is when several critical biological processes reach their peak intensity each night. The first and most common reason for consistent 3 a.m. waking is a blood sugar drop, and this one catches almost everyone off guard when I first explain it to them. During sleep, your body continues to consume glucose to power your brain, your organs, and all the maintenance processes that happen while you are resting and recovering. By around 3 a.m., roughly 6 to 8 hours after your last meal, blood glucose levels can drop low enough to trigger a stress response in your body and your brain. Your adrenal glands release cortisol and adrenaline to raise blood sugar, and those stress hormones are strong enough to pull you completely out of deep sleep. You wake feeling alert, sometimes anxious, sometimes with a racing heart, and your mind immediately starts working even though your body still needs more rest. The second major reason is your cortisol rhythm. Cortisol is your primary stress and wakefulness hormone, and it follows a very precise daily cycle inside your body. In a healthy sleep cycle, cortisol reaches its lowest point around midnight and then begins rising slowly toward its natural morning peak, which occurs around 8 to 9 a.m. After 70, this cortisol rhythm can dysregulate the early morning rise. Starts too soon and too steeply, pulling you out of sleep before your rest is truly complete. The third reason is the liver, and this is one that most people have never heard about in any conversation about their sleep quality or their overnight waking patterns. Between 1 and 3 a.m., the liver reaches peak detoxification activity, a pattern supported by both traditional medicine and increasingly by modern scientific research. When the liver works hard processing alcohol, medications, or metabolic waste, it generates enough internal activity to disrupt your sleep consistently at this hour. The fourth reason is nocturia, the need to urinate at night, which affects over 60% of adults over 70 and is among the most common causes of night waking. What most people do not realize is that nocturia is often caused not by drinking too much in the evening, but by when and how your kidneys process fluid during the day. During the day, gravity pools fluid in your lower legs when you lie down. That fluid redistributes upward and your kidneys process it as urine while you sleep. Now here is why all of this matters more than just the frustration of being awake at 3 a.m. every single night when you simply want to be sleeping and resting instead. Disrupted sleep in people over 70 has been linked to higher cardiovascular risk, cognitive decline, weakened immune function, and a significantly higher risk of falls. Every time your sleep is interrupted at 3 a.m., you are losing deep sleep, the most restorative phase, and that loss accumulates silently over weeks, months, and years. The stress hormones that wake you do not disappear once you fall back asleep. They continue affecting your body chemistry and stress levels for several hours after. Most people who wake at 3 a.m. feel unrefreshed in the morning, despite 7 or 8 hours in bed, and the disrupted deep sleep we described is exactly why that happens. Here is what I need you to hold on to. Every single one of these 4 causes is something you can meaningfully address with simple adjustments that cost you nothing. You do not need sleeping pills, you do not need melatonin, and you do not need to resign yourself to broken sleep as an unavoidable consequence of growing older after 70. What you need is the right information about what your body does at 3 a.m., and then the right adjustments that work with your biology instead of fighting against it. Before I walk you through each specific adjustment, and every single one is genuinely simple, I want to ask you something important right now before we continue. If this video is already helping you understand something you have been experiencing for months or years, please subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a video. And once you have heard the full protocol, type the number 1 in the comments so I know this information reached you and made a real difference for your sleep tonight. For the blood sugar cause, eat a small protein-based snack before bed, something like a small handful of nuts, a slice of turkey, or a tablespoon of natural nut butter. Protein digests slowly and releases glucose steadily through the night, preventing the blood sugar drop that triggers the cortisol and adrenaline stress response at 3 a.m. Avoid high-carbohydrate snacks before bed: crackers, fruit, or sweets, as these spike blood sugar followed by a sharp drop during the early morning hours of sleep. For the cortisol rhythm cause, reduce evening screen use and bright overhead lighting after 8 p.m., as both delay the natural cortisol drop your body needs to stay asleep. Dim your home lights after 8 p.m., switch to warm-toned lamps, and avoid phone and tablet screens for at least 1 hour before going to bed each and every single night. Morning bright light also anchors your cortisol rhythm to the correct time of day, reducing the likelihood of that early steep cortisol surge waking you up at 3 a.m. For the liver cause, reduce alcohol in the evening, as alcohol is one of the most significant drivers of 3 a.m. liver activity and consistent sleep disruption after 70. Also, reduce processed food, fried food, and late heavy meals. The liver processes these during the night, and heavy liver activity at 3 a.m. consistently disrupts sleep. Warm water with a small amount of lemon before bed supports liver function and may reduce the physiological activity that consistently wakes certain people around 3 a.m. For nocturia, reduce fluid intake in the 2 hours before bed, but stay well hydrated throughout the afternoon to fully compensate for the evening fluid reduction. Elevating your legs for 30 to 60 minutes in the late afternoon helps your body process pooled fluid before bedtime rather than sending it to your kidneys at night. If nocturia severely disrupts your sleep every single night, please speak with your doctor. There are specific and effective treatments that address this very directly. A protein snack before bed, dimmed evening lights, reduced alcohol and heavy food, afternoon leg elevation. 4 adjustments, each targeting one of the 4 real causes. None of these require medication or expensive products, just small, consistent adjustments made at the right times of day that work with what your body actually needs. Before you go, there is one more thing that surprises almost everyone, and it involves what you do in those minutes after you wake up at 3 a.m. that matters enormously. Most people who wake at 3 a.m. reach for their phone, check the time, or turn on a light, and every one of those actions makes falling back to sleep much harder to do. Phone screen light suppresses melatonin instantly, signals your brain that morning has come, and activates the very cortisol response that was already waking you up. When you wake at 3 a.m., keep your eyes closed, avoid checking the clock, and focus on slow, deliberate breathing to actively lower your cortisol and return to sleep. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 8. This breathing pattern activates your parasympathetic nervous system and directly counters the cortisol surge. Most people using this breathing technique at 3 a.m., instead of reaching for their phone, fall back to sleep within 10 to 15 minutes, rather than lying awake for hours. Waking at 3 a.m. is not simply aging. It is your body sending a specific signal that deserves real understanding and a practical response, rather than mere resignation. Blood sugar, cortisol rhythm, liver activity, and fluid management. 4 systems, each with one practical adjustment, working with your body rather than fighting it. The sleep you have been missing is not gone forever. It is waiting on the other side of small, consistent changes your body will respond to faster than you might think. Give yourself an uninterrupted night, not with pills, but with the understanding of what your body is asking for in those quiet, dark, early morning hours of sleep. If this video helped you understand something you have experienced for a long time, please type 1 in the comments and share it with someone who needs this tonight. The video on screen right now covers another nighttime symptom seniors experience regularly, one that is just as misunderstood and just as addressable as this one. I will see you there, and I genuinely hope you sleep through 3 a.m. tonight and wake up feeling rested, restored, and ready for everything the morning has waiting for you.